Hi everyone, I'm going to continue the series of the awesome Talmud of the Daf Yomi, page 44 on Gittin, and we're going back a couple of thousand years ago, with regards to it was very common back in the day that there were slaves. People owned slaves back in the day. There was no technology, there was no mass technology where people produced. It was very, very common back in the day. Obviously nowadays it's very much looked down upon, and in many legal societies obviously illegal. So we're not talking about nowadays, we're talking about a few thousand years ago, and it could be a Jewish person owned slaves. And we know that a slave that a Jewish person owns, the person himself would be obligated in certain mitzvot. Since they've got a Jewish owner, they would have like some sort of a status of keeping similar mitzvot which women would be obligated to keep over here. What's interesting in today's Talmud they're going to talk about, is it allowed for a Jewish owner to sell his slave to someone not Jewish, or to someone Jewish that's living in the diaspora, if they're living in the land of Israel at that point in time? What will be the law within regards to that specific slave over here? So that the Gemara is actually going to speak very strongly against it. And a Jewish person that owns a slave, a non-Jewish slave, a Canaanite slave, and everything else. First of all, we know there's a pasuk in the Torah that says one shouldn't just, for no reason, just free a slave as a general thing. That was in the Torah times. But why is it not going to be allowed to now sell this non-Jewish slave to a non-Jewish person, a new non-Jewish owner? Because this slave that the Jew owns, who let's just say was bought and wasn't Jewish, he is obligated in mitzvot by certain mitzvot, because he's got like some sort of a status of keeping mitzvot. So if he sells him to a non-Jewish person, a new non-Jewish owner, then all of a sudden the slave's not going to be able to keep the mitzvot and everything else. If he's got a non-Jewish owner, it's going to be difficult. So there's a penalty it's going to be put upon this Jewish owner. He wants to sell him off into the non-Jewish market, let's just say, of 100 times the amount of the value, potentially, according to one of the opinions. And Rav Yeshua ben Levi actually relates that over. Also, within regards to selling, let's just say, the Gentile slave to another Jew in the diaspora, that would also be problematic, because there's certain mitzvot, I would assume, one of the reasons could be you can only keep in the land of Israel, and that there's going to be that sort of problem within regards to that. Very interesting. Obviously nowadays people don't have slaves. We look down upon it. I'm not advocating it, but this was in the Torah time period. It's related over, and shows another important lesson, how important it is to keep the mitzvot. Say someone's a guardian of someone else, someone's a parent, and we've got children, obviously, how important it is to give them a good Jewish education, to give them a Torah education, to bring them up knowing all the different mitzvot inside the Torah, all the different values that someone has got to do. How important education is for our children, our precious children themselves and our descendants, and to our students. We should be a leading example, bring them up to the light of Hashem, and not teaching them steward silly things and everything else. And just shows also, if this is a punishment where you've got to pay 100 times the value of the slave, imagine, God forbid, the punishment that will fall upon someone if they teach their children bad things, if they teach bad things to people, they bad influence to other people. There's always consequences for all these things, friends, and we've got to look upon that. And that just shows us how much of a good role model we should be for other people, and not a bad role model for other people over here. Because even the Torah and the Talmud, the Gemara, is speaking about how we have to look upon even a slave that's obligated to mitzvot, how they shouldn't lose it. And if another thing, just to add another tidbit, one has got the non-Jewish slave and frees the person, that slave, we talked about in previous Stafim, will become a full-fledged Jew, obligated to all the mitzvot in the Torah. And that's why we said a couple of days ago, within regards to the slave, that they needed a minyan. They had 9 people and they wanted to free the slave. Why free the slave? So that he will become the 10th man. They needed the 10th man in the minyan. I related that over a few days ago in the Talmud, in the Gemara. And guys, enjoy. I'll leave you with a phenomenal view here in Bet Shemesh, my favorite park over here where I live nearby. Absolutely stunning, guys. Have an awesome day and a fantastic day. Bye.